Welcome to the Virtual Women's Forum, a groundbreaking initiative empowering women across generations. This collaboration between WSD Women and the East African community, women's intergenerational dialogue paves the way for transformative connections. Our mission is to unite senior women leaders with young visionaries for mentorship and impactful dialogue. Centered on the theme, the role of digital technologies and social media in enhancing women's leadership and empowerment, we aim to inspire change. Join us as we explore barriers and best practices in business, technology, media, politics, and academia. Together, we foster a future where women lead fearlessly, empowered by digital tools and networks. Through shared experiences and wisdom, we cultivate a space for growth and innovation. Join us in this transformative journey and let's shape the future of women's leadership together.
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me for the Virtual Women Forum, Vera. Thank you, my sister. I believe, in sharing our journeys, the experience that we encounter during our journeys to where we are as young women will inspire other women who are navigating their ways to leadership in various capacities. Like my journey, I can tell you it's one of the humbling one. Can tell you that from humble beginning, you can rise to be somebody. And that is my journey. Being a girl who, I grew up as being a shy at my childhood, very shy person. So I never wanted this thing of, I always loved to be in a quiet place, do my thing. And, but as time goes by, things start to change. Like my ambition was, at my childhood, was to become a doctor. That was I admire when I was young. But along the way, I got myself now to be a member of parliament. My journey started when I was serving in our community association. I was serving as secretary for finance. By then, I was working with a pharmaceutical company. Then we got recommendation to work with our area MP in parliament, a national parliament. So from there, that's how I got myself to serve him at a lower capacity as private secretary to him. So from then, after I served him for 2 years and a half, I got to be also office manager to one of my area MP. Then from there, opportunity of master's degree prevailed where I was working. Then I applied for it. I went for my master's in China. So after getting back, after my master's degree, I got back to where I work. So I got another boss to work as office manager. So as I was working, I engaged myself in political parties, where I got myself seriously in opposition party. And that's the reason why today I got the opportunity to be in the East African Legislative Assembly because of the opposition party that I was in. I got the ticket. So that gave me an opportunity to exercise my leadership ability. So throughout my journey, I can say the barriers that young women face, particularly my story, is that, this social-cultural behavior, social-cultural belief that, women who are not married, they are less to responsibility. That is what we are meant to believe sometimes. I remember as I was campaigning and, in the campaign and, we are getting to the election the following day. And when we had a party meeting to determine whether the candidates, like two of us from our opposition party who got to nominate, who got the ticket. So like me, I succeeded the party primaries, and two of us we succeeded, one male and female. So in that meeting, we're getting to the election the following day. So our members, what they have been hearing, the conclusion, and they're like, concerns out there, issues to do with, I'm not married, why have they given me the opportunity? In some society, they don't believe that. a woman who is not married can take up the responsibility. So, but for me as person, as somebody who grew up with a father who is so supportive, so for me it wasn't a problem because being an elder, so I'm the second born to 10 children. So for me, being an elder and the responsibility that I take as a second parent. So normally you can see in the African setup, being an elder, so you have responsibility. You're like a second parent to your younger siblings. So for me, it wasn't a problem, but it was a concern, Even, I cried that day because, it was so painful. And plus that, when you are navigating your way, when you are not financially independent, it's also a problem. This is the second challenge for us young women. You want to get into a position and yet you have, the position is so demanding because you need to have people campaigning for you. Even, to get that, I remember even for me to get the money for the form, it was $1,000. And it was so difficult because, being a civil servant, you don't have money because of the inflation in the country, and the business I was having, it went down, and it was very difficult. But I thank God that because by the time I succeeded the party primaries, I got support, people contribute to me even before that. Like when I had wanted to aspire, when they told me, this is an opportunity, I was like, if I'm given the opportunity, I can do it. Because I remember in 2017 when the other group who did the campaign, and I know my strength is the members of parliament that I worked under them and I served them diligently. But my concern was the issue of, the money. So I was like, now getting the money for the form 1,000, it's really, it won't be easy for me. But if I get the money, I'll go through. So I convinced one of my comrades, who was the Minister of Gender. So I told her, I want to contest and I don't have money. Then she was so supportive. She told me, assure me that you will go through. I told her, yes, I'll go through. She started supporting me. And when I succeeded the party primaries, also I got support from my party members who are in position. So even my running mate, he has to help me, so that I could get the form and fill. That is stressed was a big thing. So if I was not to have people, supporting system around me, I wouldn't have made it. But also, the trust from friends, my colleagues whom we work together, so they trust me. They said, no, we don't have money, but we can lobby for you. And that was the most important thing. Despite that, I was financially broke. And the stress, I remember I felt sick almost 3 days. I could not come out because of the stress of not having money financially, of financial problem. And also, this is stress, and being in a position party wasn't that easy, Like when I had the opportunity to serve the area MP, it was from the ruling party. All of them, those whom I served from ruling party. So now for you getting the ticket from opposition party, it becomes very hard even for them to lobby for you. But I had to convince them and say, this is an opportunity because where at the opposition political party, we have no women representing our area. That's why I got motivated to join the opposition political party to utilize that opportunity of women. So with that, I can say the journey was up and down, but with determination, it becomes so easier, and with support from sisters, with those who believe in me, my party members. So I really appreciate. So the opportunity was for us women in South Sudan, we have the 35% quota. After the peace agreement was signed, the revitalized peace agreement was signed in 2018. women are given affirmative action of 35%. So women have to be represented in all the political parties at 35%. But always the problem is, in this patriarchal setup, the men tend to always, dominate. Sometimes in other parties, you will find that women are not represented at 35% because they say women are not there in politics. So, it becomes difficult. So given the social cultural belief, it becomes very hard for many young women, to exercise political space because of the perception that if a woman join, that woman is already, like somebody taking you. Like for my case, when I started attending meetings with the opposition main party. I was warned, like families, they will tell you now, you should be thinking about, settling down, have your marriage, and now you are causing yourself into opposition party because it is risky. So, the perception that women are not risk takers, that is the problem. And always in the political space, if you don't navigate through, you won't get, because like at the party levels, there are many parties. But then for you as a woman, for you to get your right, you have to know. You have to get to the party, know what they are doing, and sometimes it's very difficult. If you're a young girl, a young woman who does not have, that time and the trust from family, it becomes so complicated. You can't. That's why, we have many women who are qualified, with PhDs, masters, bachelor degrees, but they don't get their way. Every time, you go to a meetings and they said, why are we not implementing the 35%? Because we don't have women, in this political space. And which is not right, it's just because, social cultural belief that tend to believe that women are not risk takers, because to join a political party you must really take risks, like especially the opposition parties. You go there, then because definitely you will have a lot to go through. So sometimes our families, they fear that we can be manipulated, like having a young girl, she can be manipulated with money. So kind of belief. But I can tell you, many women, young women, they are capable enough. They just need the space to show their leadership ability. That would only happen if we work together, if we work together, we get to understand that, women can equally participate, in decision making, and accept that they must be given the space, they must be encouraged, that can happen. So like I have said, the opportunities are like, women representation in top leadership. Like in South Sudan, because of the peace agreement, we have 4 vice presidents. So out of the 4 vice presidents, we have 2 female vice presidents. And the Speaker of Parliament is also a woman. When you come to Uganda, you see the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Parliament. You see, and also in Kenya, women are in that space of leadership, ministers. The same in Rwanda. You have 60% of women who are members of parliament. That gives you that, women in East Africa are empowered. It's only that they are hidden, they are tied down by the cultural social belief, like in my case, South Sudan. We have women who are very competent, they are excelling, and you see, they can do better. But it's only that, the cultural belief that we do have in a society is like to encourage the young women, who are navigating their way I can tell you, if you have a good, you always move with a good intention, you know, pure intention. As a young girl, when you want to get to that space of politics, you must know what you are for. You know, you must know yourself better, because however much you do, still you will find that, you know, the perception that women get into this space because, you know, they are manipulated, they are taken advantage of, because every time people look at you, as when you go there, even your families, they think that you would be taken advantage of, not knowing that you are just an innocent girl trying to navigate your way to 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 give your contribution to the decision making. So, you know, this kind of perception, but you should not, as a young lady, so you work your way gently, because I find it so rewarding that if you are given an opportunity to serve, do it well. I remember, because I started in Parliament as private secretary. From there I developed that network. You know, it was through my first boss that I developed that network, because I was there. He could even assign for me extra work to do. You know, I was there to, you know, and that I remember on the day of election, when other members of parliament, because like for our case, we have to be voted by members of National Assembly. So our case, there are about 550. And, you know, by then when we are doing the campaign, you know, because I was under stress, I could not come sometimes, my friend doing campaign for me and all that. So by the morning of the election when I appear, so most of members who knew me when I joined parliament, they were so happy, because like at the picture for the campaign, it was a different person. But when they get to know me that this is you, then they said, we will support you because you have really given us the best of the service. So I find it rewarding that if you are given, you know, something is small, do it very well, because in that it will open for you many ways, you know. You know, that's where you are tested. If you can be trusted with small, you can be trusted with much. So utilize the opportunity. Don't despite any other, don't despite a small beginning. Always do it to your best, and be realistic to yourself as a young woman. Yeah, so that it can open for you ways.